Well, it's that magic. I don't know if you noticed that. I have a boring red shirt on, but the pants are not bad, right? But more importantly, I'm down in front of the Capitol because this is the magic day. It's the end of the unemployment money. Man, these guys can't get their act together. Right, women too. So, uh, it's an equal opportunity screw up. Uh, but coming down here, I stopped by a church that has that give out food to people who need food. And it's right downtown Washington, D.C. And I pass there every day. And I said, God, the crowds are getting bigger. How big are they now? He said, they're double. Yeah, double. I mean, I told you about a thing yesterday that the census comes out and with data every week on people that are hurting for food. And that's grown by like 50% or 30, 40, 50% in the last month or so. And that's important. And you see stories all the time, big lines of cars going to the shelters and other places to get food. And these people are trying to cut the food budget for food for people and cut living expenses, which is going to be devastating. I mean, you see the data today all over, whether it's the economy or joblessness or whatever, man, it's just getting worse. And it seems like it's going to get worse before it becomes better. And sure, there's a lot of money, but what else are you going to do? It seems like we have to solve the problem. This is a war. So if we were at war and people were dying, we would do everything possible, right? Well, that's sort of what's happening now. Yeah. But people are stuck with ideology, or well, I don't know what the hell. I mean, it's not a time for that, it seems. And you have the power. I mean, that I gave you what I call the COVID, the COVID grant hotline. That's the switchboard on Capitol Hill. That's who you call. And you like what they're doing. You don't like what you're doing. How does this affect you? They have to hear because they walk around having $200 lunches every day. So they don't understand. And you got to tell them what's going on. You like it? Fine. Maybe people do, or they want to save money or whatever. I don't know. But if you don't like it, you have to call because they're the people in the power. They have it. And you have power over them by voting. So if you're going to vote for them next time or not, I mean, that keeps their job. So you have the power to for them to keep their job. So call that hotline. That's a switchboard. Tell them what state or your zip code, and they give you the phone numbers. You have 2 senators, and it's caught in the Senate now. The House already passed it. They passed it 3 months ago. So it's the Senate that's blocking up. So they're supposed to be the smarter people, right? It's all debatable, isn't it? So you find out who your 2 senators are, you call them each, and tell them your story. You want them to hear how this is affecting you, and I hear it on Let's Go Help and everything. How it affects people. And by the way, you don't have to give me money to learn about these programs. If you call your senator right now, then it's a way that you don't have to give me money because you learn how to use that system. Yeah, because they're the ones that write all the laws, and I just sort of tell people about it. So that's why learn how to use that before you start giving me money to subscribe to anything I do. Learn how to use that system because that's at times better. And that's where I get it. So you learn how to get it. There's no magic. We live in a democracy where we all have the same right to this. And the fat cats used to pay people like me. I used to make tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars getting this stuff for them. They don't care what it costs because they know what it's worth. But the average person can too. I'm a schmuck from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I didn't know anything about this. I just want to learn how to make $1. And I said, whoa, I just get this stuff for the rich people and they give me a lot of money. Hey, that's cool. But why doesn't everybody know about this? Why not? I mean, in Wilkes-Barre, nobody knew about it. I didn't grow up learning about any of this kind of stuff. And it was just trying to feed myself how I learned about this. this stuff. So you can learn how to use the power. This is like oil under the ground, sitting there for everybody to use. You don't have to give me money to learn how to use it. You can learn it yourself. So if you don't have money, or you just call, start learning and say, hey, how do I get money to buy a house or anything like that? That's what they're there for. They don't know everything, neither do I. Nobody knows everything. We all have different pieces of the puzzle, but that's a place to go before you give anybody like me or anybody else money to find out about these things. There's no magic in life. The only magic is some hard work. That's what hucksters live on. You're too lazy. Just give me $500 and I'll solve all your problems. No, you solve your own problems. You can if you know the tools that are there. And the people tell you, that selling this kind of information or whatever, say, all I do is give me and all that. And remember, that may or may not be true. And then plus you're not learning anything. It's sort of like buying fish at the supermarket. The old adage, teach a man to fish. And he could feed himself forever. So that's it. Learn how to use this system. Call that number, 202-224-3121, and complain. And then after you're complaining, say, hey, I'm having trouble with my utility bill. Hey, I'm having trouble with my rent payment. Because people are going to be in deep doo-doo with rent, utility bills, all this kind of stuff. Mortgages, it's going to hit the fan if they don't do something about it. States, like now I forget what's like $50 to $100 million in Virginia. They're having extra money for that. So it's at your state level too. Your unemployment stuff is stuck at the state level. Then call your state elected official. How do you find them? Your library, man, your library. Remember, these people do a lot of things I do, and they'll do it for free. You join Let's Go Help, I'm going to try to get $20 from you. So that's how I use the free stuff. That's what's available. And it's available to anybody, no matter who the hell you are in this country. And and I know the rich people are going to use the hell out of it. If they can make money out of this stuff, they're going to use it. You just saw the PPP, what happened to that. The first in line, man, was all the Fortune 500 companies getting all that money. It was supposed to be for small businesses. And I guess they were saying, we got restaurants all over. They're like small businesses, and they applied for it legally. And that's what I mean. People are doing things legally, to me, that are just immoral. But as long as it's legal, it's okay in America, right? Shit, you want America like that? I don't know. It's tough, and maybe some people really have to, and that's, I can't judge other people. I don't even know what the hell to do myself. So that we're all struggling. And that's alone together? No, struggle together. That's what we're all doing, and can't we realize that? It all takes work, it takes effort, we're all guessing. But these guys are hurting, aren't they? I mean, they're guessing too, but their wrong guess hurts a lot of people. And like a doctor, at first, do no harm, right? Isn't that what doctors' oath they take? At first, do no harm. And so maybe that's what the elected officials should be. At first, do no harm. But what? For some reason, flying around in their head, they think they have a moral obligation to hurt people. Who does that? Who has that? Maybe they call it tough love. But man, if you have the power to help people, man, that, like a doctor, you have that power to help people. Wow, what an incredible power in your hands. So as an elected official, you have the power to help people. Okay, yeah, maybe there's some downside of that, but let's worry about that later. If people went to war to save this country, we would go into hock to debt or whatever to do that and worry about that later. This is the biggest problem that hit our country since probably the war. And we have to help people first and worry about that later. But what is it that's in us, that some stupid thing in our head that probably won't make any sense 50 years from now, controls, hurting people? Ah, what would Jesus do? We talk about being a religious country. Well, does Jesus have a vote? How would he vote? Or she, or whatever. It shouldn't be funny, but man, if you don't laugh at this, man, it's gonna make it a lot tougher to get through this shit. That's right. To me, humor is the lubricant to get through all the bad shit that's gonna happen, because it's gonna happen anyway, right? So you might as well have fun doing it, because you could be miserable, but that's gonna happen no matter what you do. So you have some control to surround yourself with people who are trying to help or trying to be joyful about it instead of trying to hurt you by getting on in life. That seems like not a nice place to be. You want to move out of town, right? If everybody in town is trying to hurt you. And that's what I'm sure it feels like. A lot of people are getting hurt real bad now. And these people have the power, to fix that. And sure, there's arguments for it. We're smart enough to develop an argument for or against anything, But that's why I think a more important argument is this moral thing to do. You have the right to do that. So they got to hear to see that, to see what it's doing to people. So call them. Tell them how it's affecting you, whether it's good or bad or whatever. And more importantly, see, that's your first step in learning how to use this tool forever. So you don't have to give me money to figure out how to use all this stuff. You start using, because they could get so many things for you. Get a scholarship for you, get job training for you. That's a place to start for all that kind of stuff. Housing. They're the ones who put these programs into action, to solve these problems in our country. And then it goes to the state. So then you have to learn that state system too. And if you go to commoncause.org, that's a place to start learning all the state representatives. Call your library, your local library. They know all the nonprofits in your area too that help. You have trouble paying rent, call the library. I'm sure they probably even have a list, because you're not the first person in your neighborhood that has this problem. Call them and see what they have. It's free. I'm going to charge them money, so why? Jesus is no respectful of it. I don't know what. Sorry to get so preachy on you, but I've been studying these programs for 40 or 50 years, and I feel I know more about how these are used by the average person, I think, than anybody in the country. I'm sure people have debates on that. It doesn't matter. And I've written 100 books on this subject, sold millions of copies, and even started learning by helping fat cats use this stuff. All the rich people use it. That's why this town is full of lobbyists. This is why we get funny bills, and they don't, they just go to the highest bidder and do it. So that's why I'm trying to go to the lowest bidder. It's only $20. So you can have your lobbyist for $20, and you don't even have to spend $20. You learn how to do it yourself. Just call these suckers, 202-224-3121. Yeah. And it's 202-224-3121. Last time I gave, I think, the wrong number. I'm an old guy. I just make a lot of mistakes. And I laugh at that now, too. It used to plague me, but doesn't anymore. 202-224-3121. Call them. Let them know what it's doing to you. Call them. Ask for your senator. Give them your address. They'll give you the phone numbers or connect you directly to your senators. You have two senators and one congressman. You don't have to bother the congressmen yet, because they already voted. It's the senators. They haven't voted, and it's Friday. The deadline is today, like in a few hours. And they probably didn't do shit yet. So let them know how you feel. You got to do that, because that's what motivates them more than anything. Well, probably money, but you don't have that, so don't bother. Your vote is important. Now it's more important than anything, because they're all elected. You're going to have elections soon. So every vote, this is why they help you. because if they help you in some way and you get the money or whatever the heck you need, you'll vote there that son of a bitch no matter what they do.